I'm Becky Seizert. I'm a dressage trainer based in Minnesota, and this is my horse Philly. She's a 23-year-old Holsteiner mare. She currently is leased out, and she does occasional lessons as well. So I was hoping that Brooke could help me feel if she is sore anywhere, since she's kind of a hard worker and she's getting older. So.
Hi, I'm Brooke Drassel. I do equine body work in Minnesota and kind of travel around. So to begin with, you want to make sure that you're in an area where your horse is going to be relaxed, not responding to like some chaos or anything else. You just want to be able to get the best feel on their muscle while they're in a nice calm state of mind. The next thing you want to make sure you do is that they're standing at least square-ish. You don't want them leaning on one leg versus another, anything that can kind of change the way that their muscles are feeling. You know, when they lean on one side, they're going to be tighter versus another, that sort of thing. Once you are all set up with that, you're in a relaxed state, you're on all four, we're all good. Then how I like to begin is I'll start at the head and move my way back to the tail. When you palpate your horse, you want to make sure to use the pads of your finger. Don't use your the tip of your finger or anything else, just because that can give the horse something to react to. You want to make it very supple, so you use the pads of your fingers, and I usually use like 3 of them, and use a pressure like you would if you're like heading your dog. So don't go super deep, but go enough where like you can actually get a feel for it, but you're not going to be like creating extra pressure to make them respond to it.
So when you begin, you want to start from the head and go down. So you'll begin up here, and I like to start just kind of right under the halter, and you'll move down the neck, and you go at like a nice leisurely pace along the mane, and then I like to go down from the shoulder, and then you start again, and you'll go up by the halter and make your way down the cervicals like so. So when you do that, you pay attention to how they're reacting. As you can see, when I did her cervical, she kind of stepped away a little, and she's now wondering what's coming next. So that's something to consider, like how your horse responds to things. Next would be how the muscle is feeling. So along the mane, you have to keep in mind that the muscle is going to have little ridges to it, which is completely normal. Along the, like, as you're feeling, you'll feel these little ridges as you go. What you want to pay attention to is how the muscle is feeling as you're going down. It's probably going to get tighter because you're coming into more muscle groups down here. But the tightness is still something to pay attention to. So in general, when you feel the muscle, it should feel like your thigh when you're relaxed. As you work through things, a tight muscle is almost going to feel like your thigh when you're flexing. So those are things to pay attention to. Another thing would be is if there are any knots, that they're going to feel like a little like golf ball underneath the muscle. So oftentimes you'll feel that as you're going through the body. You'll be like, just take note of those things. So then, as you go on next, you're gonna feel down the front of her chest, and you can go literally down to like underneath, like in the armpit area. And this is an area just to be careful, because a lot of horses can get really sore in this area, and they'll be telling you to stop. So if they tell you to stop, they might bite at their chest, they might pin their ears, they might swish their tail. It's a spot that can be a tender area for lots of horses. And this area too, you're gonna you might feel some tightness. You might feel like as you go, especially in here, it might feel a little stringy, and that is just tightness with some inflammation. And the same with down here especially. You can feel it going towards her stomach, or you can go side to side, and that also will be, you'll like feel stringiness, and that's can be some tightness and inflammation. Then continuing down her body, so I like to go, so I'll go along the shoulder again and feel that, and then I'll go back here and feel here. Some horses will get feisty there because that can be an area of tension. And then I'll feel down the shoulder too. And in here, it's a lot more of a thick muscle. So it's going to feel a little more supple when you feel it. You're gonna feel you can feel a lot of tightness back in here. It'll feel again like a pretty like flexed calf or something. But those are the areas to pay attention to in there. And oftentimes the horse is gonna pin its ears or doing something like that if it doesn't like you touching there, or it's gonna move away from your feel. Okay, to feel the back, I'm gonna show you it this way, and then I'll show you the better way for you to do that's better for your body, and it'll be easier that way. But this is just so you can kind of get the whole feel for what I'm looking for. So for doing the back, you wanna start at the withers, and you'll move back, and you do it nice and slow. And I usually like to feel to right here. So you'll feel along the back, and what you're feeling for is tightness, especially like up here and right here. You think about where your saddle is sitting. So those are areas that I pay closer attention to, because if the horse moves away from it, or perhaps they start to spasm, so you'll see their skin kind of like making little like rivets in the hair, and that just shows that they have some spasms in their back. And then they could sink down underneath your feel. They could pin their ears. A lot of those different things will show that they're having saddle soreness up there at the withers. And then another thing that you'll feel is they tend to be a little tighter up here, and there is a lot of different muscles going on there. And then also they really work that area, so it's like us getting knots behind our shoulder blades. You'll feel little like balls kind of underneath the muscle here, and that tends to be knots that they have in their back. And then as you work your way back, it should feel quite like kind of like your thigh when it's relaxed. So you should feel really nothing that's a big change in the textures of the muscle. And then once you get to the low back, you're gonna feel more tightness. So generally any horse I've worked on, they have some tightness in the back, and that's pretty normal. But it's when they have like the tightness where you hit like right here and they're kind of dropping underneath your hand, or they're starting to have spasm, or they're swishing their tails, anything like that. That's showing you that there's a little more going on than it just being, we have lots of releasing happening. It shows that there's a little more going on than just like a general tightness of just having to do a workload. And then I will show you too how to actually do it, like when you're going over your horse. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so this is the best way to do it when you're actually like going over your own horse, is you'll start here, and you've got like the 2 or like 3 to 4 fingers that you use, and you're gonna go back slowly down the back. And as you can see, the hair is moving with the muscle. So you have like a good feel, but you're not giving a super deep feel to create a reaction from that. You just want to feel like superficially what is happening on the skin and on the back in general. So you just run your hand down there that way, and you feel if there's tightness, like you're thigh is like flexed, that's more of a tightness in the muscle versus a nice like relaxed thigh, that sort of thing. And again, if your horse is sore, it's going to be dropping its back, pinning its ears, doing anything like that. Then as you move your way down, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to move your hand directly down the hind end towards the tail. And that too, as you do that, you're looking for your horse to respond. Is your horse duck down? Does it put its tail underneath it and come up? Is it super relaxed? How is it? As you feel the muscle, you'll do the same thing. You'll evaluate it just as you did up here, and you'll go off of how your horse is responding. So while you're standing here also, you can keep moving down towards the leg. So you're gonna feel and move towards, so you're moving down towards the leg, pushing back towards the tail. So you're gonna feel all through here, and it's gonna be different things. You're gonna feel it's pretty soft in here and more tight here. So you've got the hip flexor in here, and this is gonna feel, it should feel pretty, like there should be tightness there, but it shouldn't be like a stringy tightness or like anything like that. It should just be a nice like flex tightness basically. And then as you can, and they'll react. Some horses will lift up a leg, switch their tail if that area is upset or sore or anything. And then the last place you can check, and this one, just be super careful because some horses can be really sore and reactive in this area, is the hamstring. So you're gonna hold your hands here and you're going to move down and just have a nice firm pressure, but not anything like pointing in, poking into them, and you move all the way down the hamstring. So some horses are going to react right away there. They'll pin their ears or stomp their foot or something, showing they're unhappy with that area. Other horses won't do anything. They'll just stand there, but it'll feel tight. Like it feels a lot more like they're actually flexing their leg versus relaxed. And then you can also go side to side. So you can feel their hamstring and go all the way down and go side to side. And when you do that, some horses are gonna be completely just relaxed. It's gonna feel really nice and smooth. And then other horses are gonna have more of a stringiness to them. So they're going to, it's going to feel like little rubber bands all the way in there. And that just shows that there's tightness and inflammation going on. And they might be a little sore from that. And that is it.
So Brooke, overall, how would you say Philly feels?
She actually feels really good. As you could see, as I ran my hands over her, she really didn't react negatively in any places. Along her back, she wasn't sinking down under my heel, so that says that her saddle is fitting well. She's got good muscle going on. She's using herself correctly. Her hind end is really well muscled, and she doesn't have any like tightness or strain anywhere in there. So overall, she's a very happy 23-year-old doing her job. Good job.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.